What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to predict the review scores for Kena Bridge of Spirits. That's right, we're back. I was making weekly videos on this game about a month or so ago when it was leading into its release in August, and then they delayed the game, and I thought, okay, I'll stop the videos. I don't know if there will be enough to talk about, if I keep going. So we're back. We're going to be doing, hopefully, weekly, and then maybe even more than one video a week on this game as we get closer to the release of Kena Bridge of Spirits. So I've already talked about why, this is a slam dunk buy for me, kind of no matter what the review scores are, and I do want to make that very clear. I don't care what this game gets review scores. This game is already going to be in my digital library day one. Even minute one, I'll be playing it probably that night that it launches, okay? So, we've done that video. I'll link that at the end of this video, and now the review scores. Honestly, I feel like this game has a good chance of being a really high reviewed game. There's honestly, I don't even know kind of what to compare this game to. Normally, when I look at review scores, obviously if it's a game in a franchise, you can look back at the past entries. Even if it's from a studio that's made other games before, you could do, and that's not a slight on them, right? Ember Lab has never made a game before. This is their first one. So there's really nothing to look to in terms of the past or what critics maybe are kind of weighing in their head when they're looking at it. I guess maybe you can look at comparable games, like games that feel, so do you look at Breath of the Wild? Is that one that kind of draws comparisons to it? I just kind of gotta go based off my gut feeling and based off of how the gameplay has looked and based off of the trailers and visuals and kind of appeal like that. I hope the game does really well. I'll play it safe and say, and I'll go right into the predictions, probably like an 84 to an 86. I'll give myself a very small range. I'm going to say the mid 80s. That's, I don't even know kind of how I want to say it. I obviously want it to be in the 90s, and to be flat out honest with you, I could easily see a world where we wake up, the review scores are out, and it's got 87s to 90. You know what I mean? That's kind of the range. I want that. I guess the reason why I say, kind of the mid 80s, that level right below it, is just because maybe I'm trying to hold the expectations back. It's also tough, and again, to make it very clear, I do care what people write in these reviews about these games. I do read them, or I'll watch them, and I'll kind of see different people's opinions. But again, my buying decision, I do not make that off of review scores. It's probably wrong to say I don't care about review scores, but I do not make my decisions based off of them. So, because I kind of get defensive over some review scores, I guess in this case, right? I want the best for this game. And I also think, by the way, for a game like Kena, again, brand new game, like a new IP, right? From a studio that's never made a game before, and this is their first one, a PS5 and PS4 game and PC game, and a game that I've honestly just been rooting for since the beginning, and I know there's many other people that have been doing that, right? Literally since the first day this game got announced. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. It still does look one of the most beautiful games. It was easily one of the most anticipated games I had from that day on. Really, I mean, so I have been kind of team Kena for this entire time, and I always called her Kena, and I'm sorry about that, but I changed, I corrected my mistakes several months ago. So I am rooting for this game, so obviously I want it to do as well as it can. And again, not to kid ourselves, there are a lot of people that do make decisions in terms of buying based off the reviews. This is a game that may not appeal to everybody. It may not be a game that most people are going to get, and they may say, well, it needs kind of this score in my mind. I need to see this score on Metacritic or whatever in order for me to justify me buying it. And so, yeah, I am. I mean, if this game gets below an 8, I don't think that's a great look. Now, does that mean the game's automatically horrible? No, there are games that live in the high 7s, in the low 7s, in the high 6s that are really solid games that people love, people fall in love with, they grow followings. It's not the end of the world, but I think it would be a pretty big deal for a game like this because I think you need as much momentum, around it as possible. I don't want to drop my guard too far and just go in expecting game of the year and the best game I've ever played. But is it wrong to say I feel like they got this? Visuals, you can't really go wrong, and maybe that's bad because maybe it comes out and it's literally unplayable. Maybe it needs day 1, 2, and 3 patches, right? It needs a new patch every day. I'm sure things could go wrong, but I think visually they'll have it completely fine. The gameplay looks incredibly solid. I don't think it's going to blow anybody away like massively, but I do think it looks like it's going to hold up. To me, it really has always been like the story. If you think about it, we've gotten a couple trailers. We've seen kind of behind this 6-7 minutes or so of gameplay, and depending on the recording to when this video goes up, I do think there could be like a state of play at some point just on Kina and just like a 10-15 minute demonstration, because like we don't really know all that much about her. We don't know much about like the tribe. We don't know much about like the actual story to it. And besides like the one gameplay snippet, we haven't actually, there's gameplay in the trailers. I think you can get a good grasp, but there is stuff to still figure out about this game, right? So there is room to move up and down. That's why I guess the mid 80s to me is safe, and also kind of like what I would be fine with. Like if I woke up and it got like an 85, I'd say, oh, okay, so it's not maybe, and again, like maybe to some it would be like, okay, this is not the greatest game of all time, but it's definitely like a really solid one. But then if all those things that we don't really know too much about, if that brings it over, then we are looking at a high 8, low 9 game. And then obviously if it goes under, then we go into the low 8s or the 7s. Again, no matter what happens, I truly mean this, no matter what happens, this game is all mine. I'm buying this day one, and it's it's cheaper. It's $40, I believe, right? So it's not the most expensive game of all time. I guess length also maybe makes an impact. I do think it's it's an actual thing that people should talk about with, like, okay, well, if the game's like 3 hours long and it's $40, is that worth the price? If it's 10 hours long for $40, if it's 10 hours long for $70, is that worth the price, right? I think there's definitely, like, your people are justified in talking about that. So I do want to talk about the length in future videos, so we'll get there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What review scores do you think it's going to get? Again, I will be doing more videos on Kina as the weeks go on. We'll probably be picking it up as we get extremely close. Let me know, as always, in the comments if there's any videos you guys specifically want me to make. I'll be covering it when it comes out. We'll live stream it. There'll be videos just talking about it after it's released, all that stuff. So with that being said, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, or subscribe to my second channel, or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, the links for all of those things are all in the description below, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.